Alright, part 1 in our 5-part series of the dreaded surface area of composite solids. Our job right now is to look at a composite solid, something like this, where we have a rectangular prism and a rectangular prism on top of that. And our job is to find the surface area of the entire thing. Surface area meaning, of course, how much space is on the outside of this. And when you think about surface area, it might be helpful to think about, you know, how much wrapping paper it would take you to wrap around this, or how much paint it would take you to paint this. In any event, for this problem, it's really a matter of starting from scratch and just building up all the surfaces, finding the area of each, and then just adding it all together. Let's go through it, and we'll see if we can make some sense of this. So the surface area of the whole thing. I'm going to start way over here, and let's start on the bottom. Let's start on the very bottom where we have a base that it's sitting on. This is, of course, a rectangle. To find the area of that rectangle, it's just 39 times 4. 39 times 4. Plus, next up, we're going to move to, let's move to this over here. We've got ourselves a panel over here on the left. And that is, let's see, 7 times, this is 4, 7 times 4. But there are two of those. There's one over here that's identical to it. So you can either add another 7 times 4, or what I do is just multiply by 2. Alright, let's go to the front section. The front section is the rectangle that's closest to us. So I'll highlight this just so we can see. This is a rectangle that is going to be 39 times 7. Again, there are two of those. There's one in the back that is exactly the same, so we'll multiply that by 2. That takes care of the base and then the walls, the 4 walls of the bottom prism. Let's talk about next, I think the trickiest section is this little platform over here. This platform that's kind of like hidden back there is, you know, if we were to kind of stand on this thing, it would be 4 inches. It's kind of a small platform, but 4 inches by whatever this length is. Well, that length is the whole thing, 39 minus 30. 39 minus 30. So that turquoise platform is 9 times 4. Alright, that's, I think, the trickiest part of this whole thing is getting that little platform there. Alright, let's move on to the front panel of the top prism. This is a rectangle. There's one exactly like it in the back. You can see it back here. So we're going to find the area of it, area of this one, and multiply it by 2. It's 3 times 30. 3 times 30 times 2, since there are 2 of them. This is 3, and this is 30. 3 times 30 times 2. Okay, moving right along, we have let's go to this side section. There are 2 of those as well. So I'll find the area of one and multiply it by 2. This is 3 inches, and this is 4 inches. 3 times 4, and there are 2 of them, so multiply it by 2. And last but not least, we are looking to find the area of the lid, or the very, very top of this thing. That is, of course, a rectangle, and that is, let's see, this is 4 by 30, 4 times 30. So if you multiply all that stuff out into your calculator, I think you get that the surface area is 1,118 square units, square inches. And again, if you're ever kind of forced to come up with some sort of explanation as to what that means, I want you to think about this is how much area is on the outside of the solid. So we're not counting, if you think about it, there's a rectangle that's kind of squished in between here. We're not counting that. We're only counting on the surface. Alright, number 2. Each of these videos will take us through 2 examples. Number 2, we have, let's see, we have a rectangular prism and a cylinder on top. And our job is to find the total surface area. Well, the total surface area of this thing, again, I think it might be easiest to let's do this. Let's find the surface area of the prism first. So the surface area of the total thing, surface area total, is equal to the surface area of the prism plus the surface area of the cylinder. And we'll subtract a few things from that, but that's the general gist of it. So surface area of the prism, if you remember, that's 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. Alright, so we take 2 times 116 times 13 plus 2 times 116 times 21 plus 2 times 21 times 13. So right there is just the prism. And then we're going to add the cylinder. So let's do the cylinder next. I'll take it down here. The surface area of just the cylinder in this particular case this is the formula that we always start with. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. But if you think about this cylinder, it's sitting on top of a prism. So the base of the cylinder, which is a circle, the base, you can kind of see it down here, you can visualize it, that's not going to be included. If you take a base away, you take one of these pi r squareds away. So now we go from having 2 pi r squared to just 1 pi r squared. Radius is 5. That's the top of this thing, plus 2 pi times 5 times 24. Alright, so we'll take this, we're not finished yet, but we'll take this and we'll add it to this. And that'll give us the surface area of the entire thing. However, think about this for a second, because there is one other thing that you need to think about. Alright? And that is the fact that if we found the surface area of this entire rectangle, the top of the prism, in other words, there's actually, the green circle here is not on the surface. It's not on the surface. So our job is to kind of think about that stuff and immediately take it away. So in other words, we're not going to just simply add those two together. Now we're going to take away from the whole thing. Let me bring this all down here. Let me see if I can copy and paste this thing. So we're going to bring this whole thing down here, plus pi times, let me see if I can copy and paste it again. Bring that right down here, and we'll take that whole thing and we're going to subtract a circle from it, because one of these side lengths, in this case not the side length, but one of these faces here has a circle that's sort of taken away from it. So we have to subtract that from the total. Alright, so we have, I think everything's good to go. Let's check over this really quickly to make sure it's okay. Yeah, I think everything's good to go here. It's a little tricky when we start thinking about the top circle and the bottom circle and what to add and what to subtract, but I think we've got it straight. So type that into your calculators. This will give us the total surface area, and I get 9187.982 square feet. So that was part one of our 5-part series here. Each video will have 2 different examples. And like I said in my previous videos, surface area of composite solids is way more challenging than volume. Volume was kind of simple. We just sort of found the separate volumes and added them. But now we have to start thinking about like what pieces actually aren't showing, and sometimes do some subtraction, sometimes some addition.